here to explain the watering procedure for Albina Co-op Garden. First thing we want to do is unlock code. We unlock that. I usually hang it up, and then to turn this on you have to turn it all the way up. You'll hear the water coming out. You can have the switch to be off. This is called a wand. Hopefully we have a wand available for you. Have it off here. So 3 things we're going to go over. When do we water? How do we water? And what do we water? I kind of like to, the main thing is we look at signs, and if there's a sign that says water me, those are the ones you most likely need to water daily. So I like to try to imitate rain as much as possible. So you do want to be gentle. And if it's a real gentle, if it's a real tiny seed, I could lower this to something like this. For new seedings, we're talking about watering the first inch. If it's something that's established, like these collard greens, we're talking about water hitting 6 inches deep. And when it's something like seeding, it's more important to actually water maybe even twice a day to keep that seed moist. One technique, you could use the knuckle, put my finger down, and if it's dry all the way to my knuckle, it's time to water. Even though it looks dry on top, there is some moisture further than knuckle. So I know that there's moisture down there. But if I would, let's say I do the knuckle test and it's dry for all the way up to my knuckle, well, then we're going to turn the water on. I'm here to water the roots. The roots are your best way for a plant to uptake waters through the roots. So it's different than seeding. Here I'm watering 6 to 8 inches deep. That's what I want to water. That's where the majority of the roots are, is about 6 inches down. If you start seeing the water flowing from the sides of this raised bed, yeah, you've probably saturated this soil. These beds, they actually can soak up a lot of water. So how long do I water this? Probably a good 4 or 5 minutes if I want to thoroughly go 8 inches deep. So believe it or not, it will take a good hour or 2 to water all these beds. If you do it correctly, that is 6 to 8 inches deep. This designates the number of the bed it is. So this is our number 2 bed. You have the dates here of what things have been planted. 2018 squash. Well, look at 220. What is planted here? 220. We have potatoes. So yes, these aren't weeds, these are potatoes, so we want to make sure we water these potatoes. A good 8 inches to 10 inches. So in this case, we're going to sit here for a good 5 to 10 minutes, and we're going to again soak all the way down 8 inches. So I can turn this on a lot harder, or I can go softer. Again, I'm trying not to hit the plants. When is the best time to water? I like to water either in morning or in the evening. Each has an advantage. If you're watering in the morning, it's cool out, you get less evaporation, and then it has time to dry off the leaves. That's one way of looking at it. In the evening, it's cooler, and you have less evaporation, loss of water. So both morning and evening would be your best bet. But if you can't, during the day, you can water also. In this case, it's impossible to just water the soil. So I'm getting some water on the plants. Sometimes I clean off the plants with water if there's soil on it, and or if I'm going to pick it later that day or the next day. To fertilize plants also before we water, and then we water after fertilization. If I want to harvest, then I should harvest before I fertilize. Somebody just put some tiny seeds in. I can just put a drip like this, and that way it doesn't disturb the newly planted seed. So even probably less water than that. Again, we're probably just making sure that the seed's moist at this point. It could be a very tiny seed like a mustard seed. So I don't want it full blast like that. That would just destroy, move the seed, and possibly the seed will flow out with the water. So even something like this, I could probably go slow. So we want to keep moving it around instead of trying to puddle, because if I puddle here, it will just start flowing. So you can see we're making a river here. We want to avoid that.